Drive Home with Maggie and Perloff. Afternoons 3 to 6 on WSKO Syracuse, a Cumulus media station. The voice of the Central New York sports fan, The Score, 1260. Welcome to your home for local sports in Syracuse. Outside the Box Score with Mark Rowlands starts right now.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of Outside the Box Score with me, Mark Rowlands, your home for local sports in Syracuse, right here on the Score 1260. Joined, as always, by my good friend Josh Boheim in studio today. Josh, how we doing?
As always, Mark. As always.
As always, recently.
That's right. That's me.
There was a while there where you were MIA, but hey, you played a lot of golf, and that's fine.
I'll say it was COVID. It was COVID related. It was medical.
Yep.
Something.
You had a valid you had a doctor's note that you showed me
For 8 weeks.
Yep, for 8 weeks. Josh showed me one doctor's note that just said he was sick, and I just believed it. But Josh is here. Josh and I have a big day today. We're going to get into that in a little bit.
So excited.
I'm also so excited. Josh and I are going to be going to the Amazing Ballpark Beer and Barbecue Festival.
I didn't know it was barbecue, Mark.
Yeah,
I thought it was just beer. I'm like, this sounds great too, but now it's barbecue too.
So we're going to get into all the details about that in a little bit.
Okay.
Since it is at the home of the Syracuse Mets, the actual home. We are the broadcast home, but NBT Bank Stadium. So very excited for that. And if any of you are going down, feel free to come say hi.
Oh yeah,
we're very approachable young men. I like to think.
I might bark at you, but that's just how I say hi.
Yeah, that's just how Josh says hi. He barks at me every single time he walks into the studio every week. Like, hey, Josh, good to see you. It's how he shows affection. We do. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk, of course, about Syracuse's big win last night over a ranked opponent again.
That's two, Marky.
That's two. First time since 2001 that Syracuse has beat two ranked opponents in one year.
Wow. Now, are they both two opponents that probably won't be in the 25 more than 1 week?
We don't need to talk about that.
It doesn't matter.
All right, let's get into this. So, a lot of weeks on this show, not a lot of weeks, but every once in a while, I come on here and I talk about social media reaction from Syracuse fans. Because I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I think a lot of Syracuse fans have a tendency to be a little spoiled.
Yeah, I'd say so.
And with pretty good reason for basketball and lacrosse, not so much for football.
It's good to expect good things.
It's absolutely good to expect good things. And I saw some people being like, can we stop talking about this beating multiple ranked opponents? We know Georgia Tech shouldn't have been ranked.
What?
And UNLV won't be ranked past this week either. And it's like, yeah, but guess what? They had a number next to their name when we played them.
What?
So it doesn't matter.
Wouldn't, as the fan, you want people to mention the useless ranking?
Yes.
That's what gets you the useless ranking. When we get ranked 23rd for not really doing anything, we're going to be ecstatic. That's the whole point. That's what college football is for guys who aren't actually competing for playoffs, okay? This is the game, folks.
And it's the same people that are like, well, we shouldn't have rankings until Halloween.
That's stupid.
It's like, all right, so we'll have rankings when there's like 4 weeks left in the season. Maybe.
I have never seen that crowd. I've never heard that take.
Yeah, and that's a take that I don't necessarily hate. Because I see the argument where it's like, okay, Florida State's ranked 10th at the start of the year, and they stink. But sometimes they just get it wrong.
Isn't that around the time that they do the playoff predictor thing? So it's like that's already what that is, right?
Yeah.
Like they're already doing that. That's the highlight. Why not have the rankings? The rankings make sense. I like the rankings.
I like the rankings too.
And Georgia Tech at the time probably should have been ranked. They beat Florida State.
Yeah.
No matter what you think about Florida State, preseason, Florida State should have been good.
Yeah.
They probably still should be good, to be honest with you. I mean,
if they had a quarterback, they would be fine.
Exactly.
But they don't.
Yeah, well.
DJU stinks.
True. The DJU memes on Twitter
Oh, they're so funny.
are the best. I think the best one I saw this week was something about, and whatever war is going on overseas, but something about intercepting a plane or something like, wow, they sent DJ over to Syria or something. And I was like, come on, man.
Oh man.
Come on, man.
That's a good one. I didn't see that one.
Yeah.
That's very funny. But yeah, so people are just saying like, oh, these wins don't matter. No, they matter. They matter more to the fans than they do to anyone else.
Right.
Do they matter in the grand scheme of the college football season? No, probably not.
Nope. But it's something for Fran to say next year when he's recruiting. It's something for the committee to think of when they're thinking of ranking Syracuse, which is what you want. The rankings are the key, Fatty. That's what it's all about.
We want the number next to our name.
Yes.
That's all it.
That's the game.
That's what Syracuse fans should be looking forward to.
Yeah.
It's, can this team get ranked? I don't care if it's preseason. I don't care if it's week 6. I don't care if it's the last week of the season and it doesn't matter because they're not going to make the playoff.
This was a big win too. We're talking about rankings. I mean, they're sniffing it now. The two ranked wins. I mean, the Stanford loss still kind of sucks. Obviously,
yeah. Stanford loss really stings. With
last possession, change a thing, whatever. You were 9-point favorites at home. That's a toughie.
Yeah.
But going on the road across the country, 6-point dogs pulling out the win, 2 ranked wins. I mean, there's a conversation probably to be had if some top 25 teams lose this week.
They'll certainly be getting votes. Which is, they got over 60 votes back-to-back weeks, and they lost to Stanford. Then no one voted for them, and then they beat Holy Cross, and who cares?
What a gritty win too. Just diving into the UNLV win. I mean, they look great in the first quarter. Jump out to the big 2-touchdown lead. I'm kind of showboating a little bit. I think some text between me and you of like, oh, this one's over. Call it whatever. Immediately regret that. Right, pretty instantly. You're like, it's over. This is what happens. This is Syracuse. And then they just hanged around in the game. They did what they needed to do, forced the overtime, and then win in overtime.
Josh and I, our text messages over the course of an SU game are the meme that Nunez sent in our group chat last night, where it's just the circle of it's so over and we're so back.
Yes.
And it's just that every 5 minutes.
Yep.
Because that's how Syracuse. This is a team worthy of the Cardiac Cuse nickname that usually goes around for basketball. This is absolutely a Cardiac Cuse team.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's just that for 4 quarters and sometimes overtime, as we saw last night, where it's like, man, it stinks. They can't stop anybody. This is awful. Then they score 2 more touchdowns in the third quarter, and Kyle McCord for Heisman. LeQuinn Allen's the best running back in the ACC. This is great. And Allen had an unbelievable game last night. 4 touchdowns.
Oh, yeah.
100 and I had to do some math in my head here quick. 129 overall yards from scrimmage. So really great night for LeQuinn Allen last night. We've got Mitty in the chat. He says, jinx, then reverse the jinx, then reverse the reverse jinx for 4 quarters.
Bingo.
That's what Josh and I do. It's just that back and forth.
Yeah.
But you're right. That is, I'd say this win is an even better win than the Georgia Tech one, even after, like, directly after the Georgia Tech game.
Oh, yeah.
Because UNLV, they've got this whole thing around them now because of the quarterback and the running back leaving because of the NIL stuff. And it's like, oh, well, this, bodes great for Syracuse in a couple of weeks. Then they go out and win big last week against, I believe it was
Holy Cross.
No,
you're
UNLV.
talking about UNLV.
I want to say it was San Jose State or something. Okay. And they so they win big last week against a conference opponent, and it's like, oh,
maybe they're still.
Wait a minute, maybe this Williams kid, their new quarterback, is actually pretty good. And he had a good game last night. He was 21 of 25. He had 3 picks or 3 touchdowns. He threw the 1 pick, but he looked good last night. And their running back also looked really good last night. So the replacements come in and are just as good, if not better than the guys that left. And it's like, oh no,
There's been a lot of guys on the opposing offenses that look pretty good against Syracuse, to be honest with you, this year. I think
that's true.
that is the one. Isn't that the oddity that like McCord comes in and I don't know about you, but I feel pretty confident with the ball. I like the offense. I like how they move.
Love the offense
Love McCord.
right now. Yeah.
The defense scares, which is like the total opposite of the spectrum with Syracuse these last couple of years. But it's not great, Marky.
No, the defense and the special teams struggles continue.
That punt in the second, that was the one that nearly sent me where I was like, maybe I just turn it off now.
Yeah.
Maybe this is where the disaster starts and I got to get out of here. It's bad.
It's really bad. And it's something that I guess we've taken it for granted in recent years with Syracuse's special teams, because for a couple of years that we were like punter U.
Sure.
Like we were just putting out NFL punters and really good kickers like Andre Schmidt. And, we just had really good special teams units. So it was like, okay, we don't have to worry about this.
I think special teams is the best when you don't even talk about it.
Exactly.
Because it just happens. It's just something in the game that should just be routine. It's fundamental.
Yep.
It's the easiest part of the game in some sense.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you have to start talking about it, that's when you really realize, like, maybe we do have a problem here. When you keep bringing up, like, the punt, the missed field goal, something like that, I don't know.
I mean, that's one of the things that, it's never talked about, like you said, but, like, with those great Patriots teams, obviously they had Brady and they always had a good defense. Their special teams never made a mistake.
No.
Like, it was just always, they had great kickers, they had really good punters, really good special teams units as a whole.
Right.
And that won them a lot of games. And the special teams is one of those things that you talk about when it loses you games, and you never talk about when it wins you games.
Yep.
And right now, we've lost one game because of the special teams unit, and almost lost a couple more. So
yeah, the Georgia Tech game was dicey. This game's a little dicey.
It's tough, but you're right. When McCord has the ball in his hands, when we are on offense, I don't think I've ever been more confident in a Syracuse team on the offensive side of the ball. When you have a legit gunslinger quarterback, he threw 63 passes last night.
That's how it's done.
He was 40 of 63. He's just throwing the ball all over the place. 355 yards again. Ho-hum, another 350-yard game for Kyle McCord, who does it every single week. Now, like I said, you got LaQuinn Allen with a really big game. Didn't average much in terms of yards per carry, only 3.7.
Sure.
But he had the 2 touchdowns. He had 2 more catching the ball. And Yasin Willis had 8 carries for 62 yards, averaging just under 8 a carry, and a touchdown himself. So they finally remembered that they can run the ball, which is something that they did not do against Stanford. Because, like I said, after that game, we either have the worst offensive line in the ACC or Stanford has the best defensive line because they were all over the place. And he also remembered last night, wait a minute, throw the ball to Gadsden.
Yes.
He had 10 catches for 142 yards. There were a couple weeks there where it was like, where's Aronde? They're just not throwing him the ball, and when they are, it's not exactly a good throw. It was, the routes didn't seem right. Something was wrong. And then last night, they're like, oh, yeah, this guy's essentially a wide receiver at the tight end position. Just get him the ball.
Yeah. It was just a complete offensive performance, and they needed it. They needed it last night. Anytime you need to score more than 40 to win, I mean, even in college, that's not too out of the question, I think, but that's still a lot of points.
It's a lot of points. And it's a team that I'm pretty confident most weeks can go out there and score 35. So that's really nice. But yeah, the defense is still a struggle. And it remains true. We still can't tackle.
No, and that is the odd part. You hire the defensive backs coach, you hire a new defensive coordinator. The first couple weeks, you're like, maybe it's the scheme. They're getting used to it. Some things are just basics. The tackling is an issue. I don't know where it gets fixed. I don't know how this changes in some guys' minds. I don't know. That's a Fran Brown issue, and I trust Fran now. If anything's noted, love Fran. So you got to think at some point the defense becomes at least a little better. I'm not going to say they're becoming elite. They're going to start, getting 10 sacks a game and 2 turnovers. But at some point, they're going to stop the bleeding
Yeah.
a little better than they are now.
And a better performance from the offensive line last night, by the way, too. McCord didn't get touched.
Oh, yeah.
No, 0 sacks for UNLV. And they were sending guys because I saw a very interesting stat. Because SU struggled so much against the blitz from an offensive line standpoint, and McCord has been the best quarterback in college football against the blitz this year.
Okay.
Which is strange.
He gets pressured a lot, but he just makes something happen out of it.
Yeah, and Syracuse allows the 7th most blitzes in college football. So
allows or
gets blitzed. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how they allow it.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
Send them. Send them
wrong,
at me.
Wrong wording there.
No,
Syracuse gets blitzed the 7th most in all of college football. And McCord has the best QBR and I believe the best average yards per possession with a blitz. So the offensive line struggles with it, but Kyle McCord sure as hell doesn't.
Yeah, I think the easy, looking forward with this Cuse team, next week and on, it's just what the defense can do now, right?
Yep.
I mean, that's just the biggest question. It seems easy. Any fan can just think about this. That's just what you got to see. There's literally no question marks on the offense.
No.
I'm completely in full faith of our offense and what it can do, and I don't even want to say the special teams. I don't want to think about it. Hopefully, it's just not a thing.
Hopefully, we don't have to say the 2 words special teams
ever.
For the rest of the year when we talk about Syracuse football, because just be okay.
Yeah,
that's all I need. Just be average, and Syracuse has a chance to continue what so far has been a pretty damn good season, and will hopefully continue to be so. Do have to take a timeout. We'll be right back in just a couple of minutes here on Outside the Box Score with me, Mark Rowlands, your home for local sports in Syracuse on the Score 1260.
For the best local beer in Central New York, the only place you need to look is Myers Creek Brewing Company, with 16 different beers on tap at both the Inner Harbor in Syracuse and the Palace that is the Cazenovia location. Myers Creek has something for everyone. Want a bite to eat? Both locations feature a kitchen with delicious pizzas, some of the best wings in Syracuse, and much more. Make sure to check out our friends at Myers Creek Brewing Company, the official bar of Outside the Box Score.
Used car prices are falling.
Mitty says, I see you are not Beamer Ball disciples.
Beamer Ball.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar, Mitty. Fill me in.
Not either.
Beamer Ball. Oh, it's like an advanced metric thing?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not a nerd, Mitty.
Beamer Ball is an attacking style of playing football that involves the entire team, offense, defense, and special teams.
Oh, he just said special teams wins games.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Frank Bieber, coach of Tech, special teams play and aggression, yeah.
Oh, that Beamer.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Pat just says you don't know ball.
Me?
Just us in general.
Pat, you shut your whore mouth, okay? We're not on the air now. Shut your mouth, Pat.
This is why people tune into the Twitch stream.
Just you say something I don't like, shut your goddamn mouth.
Yeah, at least I don't have to hit the button for it.
True. I know now. I'm being a little bit more reasonable.
I stopped in last week. At some point, I stopped into Steve's.
Yeah. At some point.
No, like at some point on Saturday. It wasn't like right after the show because I had to go somewhere. I think I had band or something. Yeah. And so I stopped in after that, and a couple of the guys that were in there had listened to the show. They were like, "So, had to hit the button, huh?" I'm like, yep. They all said, they're like, that was hilarious.
Yeah.
Like, I'm glad we weren't the only ones that thought it was super funny.
I didn't even know what I said. I really didn't. I blacked out.
Creamed it.
Not the first time. Yeah. Thank you, Jim. We got Jim in the chat.
Jim is not in the chat yet.
What?
He shows up late sometimes.
What's he doing?
I don't know.
Oh, now I got to give him crap on Twitter.
Maybe he's golfing.
No, true. Well, I'll call him out. He likes to call me out when I miss the show. I'll call him out. Where were you, Jim?
Yeah. Where were you?
Where were you the day that we talked about college football for 20 minutes and then, well, I don't know what else we're going to talk about today, Mark.
Yeah, we got baseball. There's all sorts
Oh,
of stuff.
true.
Yeah.
True. A lot of baseball.
Yeah. Well, you have to give your eulogy of Pete Rose.
I mean, yeah, I don't think I said it on air my recap of the documentary, but yeah, I'll just
Yeah, we talked
politely
about it.
Oh, we did. Okay. So yeah, I mean, Pete, I'm excited for next year. Could you imagine? This is the grand thing. Now I am more than well, I guess I don't want to spoil it, but Votto and him going in at the same time.
Yep.
Next year, it will be all Cincinnati and Cooperstown.
Yep.
I have to go. It's a huge
Yeah,
thing.
that'll be 5 years.
Yeah.
And we're back outside the box score with me, Mark Rowlands, your home for local sports in Syracuse, right here on the Score 1260. Stone just brought this up in the chat, and we were just talking. I said, Josh, you have to give your eulogy of Pete Rose, but tough week for you.
What?
2 legends of your favorite teams.
Oh, Dikembe?
Dikembe.
Yeah.
Passed away as well. So, mourning the loss of Dikembe Mutombo, died of brain cancer.
Right.
Which did you know he had?
No, I think it was a thing, one of those things where guys are just keeping it to themselves nowadays.
Yeah. I believe he was 58.
Mhm.
Not, didn't even make 60 yet. And then Pete Rose. There's Jim in the chat.
About time, Jim.
And Pete Rose passed away at the age of 83. Of course, Cincinnati Reds legend, the all-time hit king in Major League Baseball, and not the greatest off-the-field track record.
Well, what are you gonna do? You gonna kill this man now? He's dead, Mark.
No, and
No, I know.
we're and I'm not going to sit here and bash Pete Rose like I've seen some people do. And the guy is an absolute legend of baseball, both for good and ill.
Yeah.
He is one of the most famous and one of the most infamous people in the history of baseball. For
100%.
Charlie Hustle, all the hits, everything like that. And then, of course, the gambling scandal. And he's the cover of Sports Illustrated. I actually have that Sports Illustrated.
Do you? That's
I do.
Cool.
And, but at the same time, did he ever bet on his own team? You don't think he would have, because he was the ultimate competitor and, all this stuff. There's such a strange dichotomy with just the baseball career of Pete Rose. And Stone says he should be a Hall of Famer. I'm assuming you're in the same camp.
Yeah, obviously. I mean, the only thing is, even when people bring up the betting on your own team thing, it's like, if anything, he bet them to win.
Exactly.
He was not going to bet against his own team.
Yeah.
Definitely. 100% in my mind. Which still, there's a question of, that okay? Should you be able to do that? Sure. Whatever. The gambling's a problem. Yes. But watch the doc on him. I love the doc on HBO, the Charlie Hustle doc. And it just solidified for me that, yes, Pete Rose off the field as a human, probably, I wouldn't even say probably, not a good guy.
Yeah, bad guy.
Not a good person, big liar,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of things wrong with him, whatever. But Pete Rose, the ball player, undoubtedly a Hall of Famer. Undoubtedly. No one can question that in my mind. Just what he embodied, his idea of playing baseball, what it meant, the idea that it was truly a job, things that he took to it, the passion that he brought to the game, and the fact, Mark, that, like you mentioned, all-time leader in hits.
4,256 hits.
That's kind of what the batter does, is try to get hits, and he did it the most times of anybody ever. So, yeah, I'd say he's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, and Jim brings up a pretty good point. Pete Rose, not the only guy that was not a good person off the field.
Right.
Ty Cobb, terrible guy.
Babe Ruth.
Babe Ruth was a pretty well
drunk, wasn't he?
Yeah, but he was a pretty well.
I thought he hit somebody.
There's the theory that he killed his wife. By burning down the house.
Oh, that's a lie.
Yeah, it's
like a wives' tale.
Yeah, it was never proven.
I'd like to think it's true.
But Jim brings up Lawrence Taylor. There's a lot of deeply troubled human beings that were great ball players.
Yeah, the list goes on.
And we can appreciate the fact that this is a guy that hit 303 playing in the most games ever
Mm-hmm.
No one ever played in more baseball games than Pete Rose. 3,562 over the course of 24 years.
Mm-hmm.
And all-time leader in plate appearances, all-time leader in at-bats, 2,100 runs scored, 160 home runs, 1,314 RBI, 198 stolen bases, 303 average, 118 OPS plus, Rookie of the Year, MVP, Gold Glove winner, played first, played right field, played second, played all over the diamond, and obviously was a key member of what many people continue to say
Mm-hmm.
is arguably the greatest team ever assembled
Oh, yeah.
in the 1965 or 75 Big Red Machine Cincinnati Reds. And it's funny. You don't think about this because, Rose had such a long and illustrious career. Do you know how old he was in 1975?
Well, I mean, I do some quick math. He was probably like almost 40.
He was 34 years old. He
Oh.
was not a young man. And he continued to play 11 more years. He played until 1986.
Oh, yeah.
And I got to look at that 1975 Reds team. 108 and 54.
Mm-hmm.
World Series champions, of course, beat my Boston Red Sox in 7 games.
Yep.
The fact that Carlton Fisk home run happened in a series that the Red Sox didn't win.
There's a great moment in the doc where they talk about that, and everyone in, like I think it's the Cincinnati sports writer who says that's probably the greatest home run in MLB history that no one remembers because it wouldn't matter. It didn't end up mattering. And I think Rose says something too. He's like, that night I said, I don't care who Carlton Fisk is or something like that. He's like, let's go win it tomorrow or something.
But you look at this team, Johnny Bench, Hall of Famer, arguably the greatest catcher to ever play Major League Baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Tony Perez, Hall of Famer. Joe Morgan, Hall of Famer, arguably the best second baseman to ever play Major League Baseball. Dave Concepcion at short, who a lot of people think has a really, strong argument to be in the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
He isn't, but he was a hell of a player. Pete Rose at third. George Foster in left, who is not a Hall of Famer, but over the course of his career hit 274 with 348 home runs and over 1,200 RBI, and was one of the most feared power hitters in Major League Baseball in the 1970s.
Mm-hmm.
Cesar Geronimo, who was an incredible defensive center fielder for those Reds, and some guy by the name of Ken Griffey Sr. Obviously, his son was a little bit better than him, but Pops could play a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
When that's your starting lineup day in and day out, I don't know how they didn't win more than 108 games.
Isn't that the crazy thing? You're saying Griffey Sr. in 75, and then he plays with his kid in the 90s.
Yep.
And another guy that just, he was obviously younger than Pete then, but he plays another 15 years.
Yeah, and looking at Griffey's stats, career 296 hitter.
Yeah, he was good. He was really good.
118 OPS plus, which is the same as Pete Rose's for his career, by the way. 152 home runs, 200 stolen bases, few all-star appearances thrown in there. Couple of seasons he got MVP votes, and he's one of the forgotten guys on the Big Red Machine.
Yeah. I mean, the team's incredible. Pete's incredible. There's moments of Pete in the Hall of Fame currently.
Yeah.
You go to there, you hit the moments thing, you can watch him break the hit leader. You can watch him get his 3,000th hit, I think, even too. There's all these different great things that happen that Pete Rose is there for. I believe there's a jersey of his in there from the night that he broke the hit thing.
I believe that jersey is in there, yes.
It's crazy. He's there. Put his name on a plaque and put it up in the hall. It's ridiculous that he's not in the Hall of Fame. It makes no sense to me.
9 seasons of 200 or more hits. Led the league in hits 7 times. One of them in a strike-shortened season in 1981. But he still had 140 hits in 107 games as a 40-year-old on the Philadelphia Phillies.
Now, I will say this. If they do it this year, if they put him in on the vet committee, or would he even need to? Because he was never eligible, right? Like, they never put his name on a ballot.
So
how does that work?
You're the guy. He would have to go to committee still. Okay. Yes. But it would have to be approved by Major League Baseball, which is something that he fought for years towards what we now know was the end of his life. And they're going to at some point. And I saw someone make an interesting argument. I'm not sure exactly how the wording is for his particular punishment. It's a lifetime ban.
Right. Whose lifetime?
If it's his.
Yeah. Well, and the president of the Veterans Committee for a long time was Joe Morgan.
Yeah, Joe Morgan was on the committee for a long time, yes.
Yeah, we got to get this guy in here. A lot of people tried. It's impossible. The juggernaut that is MLB, and especially the Hall, it's easily the hardest. It's the hardest hall to get into in all of sports. We talk about it all the time on here. If it is this year, and they put him in the year after he dies, if you're Pete Rose Jr., I do not go to Cooperstown. I send nobody. Anybody who wants to put my dad in the Hall of Fame, they can do it, and nobody has to speak about it because you just can't accept that at this point. You say, great, he should have been here 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Move on. In your mind, you've already accepted your dad is a Hall of Famer, and that's what it is.
And this is a guy that my little Pete Rose story is I'm 13 years old.
Yeah.
Going to my first Baseball Hall of Fame induction in 2013. No one living was inducted, but my grandfather and I took a one-night trip to Cooperstown, and because he had never been to an induction ceremony and he wanted to go. So my grandfather and I go, and there's a line out the door of one of these stores. And on Hall of Fame weekend, there's Pat just said I look terrible for 13 because I said I'm 13 years old. Good joke. And there's a line out the door at one of these stores. And Hall of Fame weekend, a lot of people are signing autographs. You know, you pay a few bucks, but you get to meet a legend. And we say, who's signing autographs in there? And they say it's Pete Rose.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, well, I gotta meet the all-time hit king.
Right.
And so we get in line. We pay I want to say it was $60.
Good for Pete.
That's how he made money the last 30 years. And
of course betting on the Reds.
Well, and of course betting
maybe
on
not.
Yeah,
not
no,
the Reds.
he lost money betting on Cincinnati Reds the last 10 years. And so we go in, and I'm wearing a Bryce Harper Washington Nationals. It's Harper's second year in the league, but he came through Syracuse. And so I'm sitting there at the table with Pete. Like I said, there's a line out the door. He sits there and talks to me for 15 minutes, 20 minutes. It's not just, okay, I'll sign your picture, and move on, kid. He asks me about the jersey. Oh, yeah, I really like that Harper kid. It's like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. He plays hard. That's when Harper was still running into walls left and right and reckless abandon that he used to play with. And we sat there and talked baseball for 15, 20 minutes. And I know that Pete Rose's reputation as a human being is far from sterling, but I will say this. He was very nice to a 13-year-old Mark Rowlands and took a fair amount of time out of his day to sit there and talk baseball with a 13-year-old kid. And that's something I'll never forget.
He loved baseball.
That's it. The guy just loved baseball.
Right. And the way he was treated by the MLB, and I get it, he bet on games. But in the last years of your life, this is the only thing that means anything to you, right? A game that he's devoted 80 years to. Because after he retires, he didn't get to just get into the Hall and go on and forget about it. No, he fought his entire life to get into this Hall of Fame. And they fought him tooth and nail until he died. And now they're going to give him his victory, his sympathy card here. It's almost more insulting to put him in now, to be honest with you. I'd almost rather it just be the black stain on the Hall of Fame for the rest of its existence that the all-time leading hit king is not in the Hall because of this. It's more insulting to put him in
here. I tend to agree.
Yeah.
So that's our Pete Rose discussion. We are going to have a discussion on Dikembe Mutombo as well.
Oh yeah.
But we'll do that when we come back. We got to take a break here on Outside the Box Score.
If you're a fan of local craft beer, the only place you need to go is Myers Creek Brewing Company with 16 brews on tap at both the Cazenovia and Inner Harbor locations. Myers Creek has the best selection of locally brewed libations in all of Central New York. Want a nice hazy IPA? The Velvet Fog is a must-try. More of a traditional Pilsner? How about the Floatin' on By? And for you sour drinkers, the It Takes Blue to Mango. So crack open a cold one with the official beer of Outside the Box Score, Myers Creek.
Top tier roofing.
Maybe said if he didn't go on TV and say the various things he did, I think it would have been easier. For sure. He did not help his case for years.
He's a dog, Mitty. What do you want from him? He's a horny old man from a time that passed him by.
It is tough because it is one of those things where, we've talked about in the past, you separate the art from the artist, but he really didn't help his case for a long time. He really didn't.
No, I get that.
Mitty also said, hopefully sarcastically, Rob Manfred always does what's best for baseball. I'm sure he knows what to do.
I mean, Jim said it the best. So, I mean, guys are scumbags who get into these things.
Yeah.
They get enshrined all the time,
Mm-hmm.
even within Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
Those guys playing in the 30s, they're brutal people. They're probably very bad people.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It shouldn't matter.
Ted Williams, well-known jerk.
Yeah.
Like, guy's the greatest hitter of all time, but
Sure.
he was a bad guy.
Bills fans saw it. Jim Kelly, piece of dog crash. He was a bad guy. Real bad person.
Really? I actually
Oh,
didn't know
yeah.
that.
I've heard a lot of bad things.
Hmm.
I've heard a lot of people in Buffalo, a lot of slide eyes. Not good. Now, that's mostly from a guy, Filthy, who I used to work with.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, maybe,
Yeah.
Filthy was getting crapped from. I get it. But I hear a lot. Jim Kelly, bad guy.
Yeah,
You know.
and both Jim and Mitty just brought up, but, Ted Williams served in 2 wars, and he was an incredible pilot. Yes, I know. And he also was so ashamed of his Mexican heritage that he never claimed it. His mother was Mexican. And he was so woefully ashamed to be Hispanic that he never accepted it and denied it for years.
Mm.
So,
I mean, Pete was just like the ultimate blue collar guy too. Grew up, humble beginnings in Cincinnati. Hometown hero.
yeah.
His story with the Reds, it's like you can't write these things. It's fantastic. Enough Pete Rose. He's fine. He's a bad guy. Sure.
Yeah.
You won. Pete Rose, not a nice guy. What a whopping take. I get it. Okay. So he gambled and did some steroids when he was 42 trying to play with the young guy. Who cares? Put him in the hall. Are you looking up the Kembe now?
Yeah, just getting up some of the highlights.
And another penalty for the Sabres. I mean, this team, anyone's a hockey fan out there watching too. I mean, this is tough to watch. Oh no, it's on the Devils. That's nice.
Wasn't Dikembe like? Isn't he like real? Wasn't he like really smart?
I mean, he graduated from Georgetown.
Yeah, but like, well, yeah, but
I'm just mad.
And we're back outside the box score with me, Mark Rowlands, your home for local sports in Syracuse, right here on the Score 1260. Do you want to talk? We'll talk more briefly about this one, but the loss of another legend in the sports world this week. At the age of 58, Dikembe Mutombo, one of the great shot blockers in the history of the NBA, one of the great defensive players in the history of the NBA, period. Of course, went to Josh's favorite team, Georgetown, in his college days. Killed Syracuse for a couple of years when he was there, and went on to have just a tremendous NBA career. Averaged 2.8 blocks per game for his career. 3,289 blocks, good for second all time on the NBA all-time blocks list. Number retired by 2 different teams, the Atlanta Hawks and the Denver Nuggets.
Yeah.
8-time All-Star. 3-time All-NBA second or third team, 4-time DPOY, 3-time All-Defensive first team. How do you win Defensive Player of the Year 4 times and only make first team 3 times?
I don't know.
What's going on
Must have been
there?
a tough year in whatever year that was.
I mean, come on. Then 3-time All NBA or NBA All Defensive second team as well. Led the league in blocks 3 times and rebounding twice. Stone said it. Best defensive center of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'd reckon.
The guy was incredible, especially coming from where he did, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, which we've seen guys come out of there since. But when Dikembe came out, that wasn't. It's not exactly a basketball hotspot.
Yeah.
And went on to have a great career, have a great life, really. He was taken from us far too soon at the age of 58. But just in someone that stayed relevant for a kind of stupid reason.
Yeah.
It's those Geico commercials.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
When we were a kid, and yeah, sure, I knew about Dikembe Mutombo, but seeing him just swat a piece of paper out of the air that someone in an office is trying to throw into a trash can
and then run off. Yeah.
And he hits him with the "not today," like, it was hilarious.
And I mean, he kept himself. He went to a lot of Georgetown home games too.
Yep.
I mean, even when they've been pretty bad for a while.
Yeah.
But he would go every week, and I've heard stories. I got friends who went there, went to school there, and like he would stay afterwards and like meet with students, talk to them about their things. Like we have that guy from Oswego, Connor.
Yep.
He met him, got a picture with him, talked to him for a little bit. Like same thing, just a nice person, opposite of what we kind of a dichotomy of what we were just talking about, but just a really all around nice guy from what it sounds like. And yeah, good. It's a tough loss.
Yeah, he was. He announced in 2022 that he was undergoing treatment for a brain tumor. And about 2 years later, it took him. He died in Atlanta, where he lived after his NBA career was over. Became a naturalized U.S. citizen. Stayed in Atlanta and was a large member of the Atlanta community, both literally and figuratively. Guy was 7'2", and
I get it. No, I got it.
Yep. And just a big loss for the basketball community. I don't remember if we've talked about it before, but it seems like basketball legends tend to live a very long time, barring tragedy.
Yeah, I'd say so.
So, obviously the tragedy with Kobe Bryant and the helicopter crash, and, Pistol Pete Maravich died young. But for the most part, it's like Kareem's still with us. Oscar Robertson's still with us. Jerry West, like...
Bill Russell was pretty damn old.
Yeah, Bill Russell was super old. Like... No, but
I know.
They lived these long, incredible lives, more so than I would say legends in any other sport, it seems. And
yeah,
it's, so when we lose a guy like this in the basketball community so young, it's...
Oh God!
What
were you reading?
No, I was just.
Was it Pat?
It was just Stone saying Mark thinking you didn't get his height joke was the funniest part of the show.
Right.
I was just,
over-explain.
Yeah. Over-explaining's funny, but so it stings a little more when a member of the basketball community dies so young, especially something so terrible.
Yeah.
Brain cancer, and so we'll miss Dikembe. Like you said, his presence at Georgetown games was frequent over even in recent years when they were not good, and they still stink.
Well, for now,
it's 11
big transfers coming in. Mark.
Yeah, but it's 11:43 and Georgetown still sucks. So
you better be careful. I will be there, folks. December 14th in the Dome.
We will be there together.
Yes.
We might have to get a crew for that one.
I mean, Pops is coming out. Yeah, we'll figure it out. I thought about getting season tickets just because I'm like, if that going to be cheap? It's not going to be cheaper. I can just pay for one game and be fine.
But we will be at that game. I asked my dad see if he was interested in coming as well. So
okay,
yeah,
okay.
So we'll see if we can get a crew together for that one. But
as long as he's okay with us wearing our Hoyas stuff, walking through with us.
Oh, we'll just be talking trash the entire time.
I'll be honest with you. I was pretty disappointed last time. We talked about it on the show too. Nobody cared.
Yeah.
I wore an AI jersey I didn't even get like 2 looks. I'm trying to rile up the crowd. They don't care. The kids don't care these days, Mark. That rivalry used to mean something.
Well, it still means something to me.
There
so
you go. I like it.
It'll Georgetown will always mean something to me.
Good. That's what we want.
It means that they stink. We got to take a timeout. We'll be right back on Outside the Box Score.
For the best local beer in Central New York, the only place you need to look is Myers Creek Brewing Company, with 16 different beers on tap at both the Inner Harbor in Syracuse and the Palace that is the Cazenovia location. Myers Creek has something for everyone. Want a bite to eat? Both locations feature a kitchen with delicious pizzas, some of the best wings in Syracuse, and much more. Make sure to check out our friends at Myers Creek Brewing Company, the official bar of Outside the Box Score.
Used car prices.
Mitty, Mitty, I know you're still in here because you just said Ed Cooley's influence.
Oh, God.
Mitty is a guy that is in a Twitter community with me.
Okay.
And shout out Mitty. Just a great poster. A real good poster on in this community. Has some hilarious music and movie takes.
You find them bad or was...
he just said known music and cinema head. No, I'm wondering if I should spare him the embarrassment.
Okay. How bad? What is it?
This one wasn't a take.
Okay.
But okay, he just said do not explain this one, so I won't.
I will say, did not explain it. Mark plays with one slider on the board throughout the show that does nothing. What does that one do?
That's what plays the Myers Creek ads.
It's only for that.
Yeah.
Oh, so you put it up, you put it down. That's just what. Okay, because at some point throughout the show, you just went boop boop.
Yeah.
It does nothing.
No. So yeah, that's the slider for this computer.
Yeah, I get.
So I play the ads through that computer.
I see.
And I put it back down because I've got other websites open and I don't want any random audio playing. Okay, Mitty said I can explain it, but I have to defend him. I'll defend him a little bit. Mitty's like a little younger than me. He's like 23, 24 years old.
Yeah. Cool
and
kid.
Didn't grow up listening to you and I grew up listening to a lot of classic rock.
Sure.
And Mitty did not.
Okay.
And so one day in the chat, he was like, he was asking like what the big deal about Jimi Hendrix was. And he said, I'm pretty sure it's because he was the guitar player for Led Zeppelin.
It's a Jimmy.
It is a Jimmy.
Jimmy Page, right?
I'll give him that. Yes, it was Jimmy Page. But oh my God, everyone went nuts. It was so funny.
If you don't know it, that's a tough one.
Mitty just said he did not know it was a Jimmy.
That's what I'm saying. Oh, well. Damn it, man. I'm trying to defend you, Mitty.
We're trying.
I'm trying to help you out here. That'd be a somewhat logical thing. I feel like if you don't know it as well, like, oh, is that the Jimmy and the Zeppelin thing? Or I thought you were gonna say Jimi Hendrix. What's the big deal with that guy? He did that one national anthem. Like that would be very funny too.
Stone said, I'm sure he got absolutely torched. Oh, he did. We joked about it for days. Maze just said, then we had the Freebird guitar solo incident. I don't remember that one. Did you just say it wasn't good? Because Freebird is not my favorite Skynyrd song. It's a great guitar solo, but I'm not like, in love with Freebird. So I might agree with you on that one.
I need some Mitty. Drop it in the chat. Then I'm looking for some Halloween, like psychological thriller type things.
That's right. He turned off Freebird like 3 minutes in. He's like, I get the point. He didn't even get to the guitar solo. That's right.
It's a 9-minute song.
Yeah, he said it's a 10-minute song. I got the point.
You missed.
And we're back outside the box score with me, Mark Rowlands, your home for local sports in Syracuse, right here on the Score 1260. Here to tell you about a couple of things. First off, we're going to tell you about something amazing going on at NBT Bank Stadium today.
Oh.
And that is the amazing Ballpark Beer and Barbecue Festival running 12 to 4 today at NBT Bank Stadium. Every local brewery you could want
Yeah.
is going to be there. I believe they've got over 60 types, over 60 breweries there.
I'm gonna have all the IPAs.
Dude, we're gonna have fun. We also get a free sample glass, so you can go around and sample.
Oh,
And so we get that just for going.
really?
Yeah.
Do I get a free waters on everyone? I'm gonna need to hydrate. This
Oh,
thing, Marky.
we'll be plenty hydrated.
Thank God.
They're gonna have a cigar deck
Cigar. We're gonna buy cigars.
out there. I believe on the right field deck, Rocky's Cigars is gonna be out there.
Buddy.
We're gonna be standing out there eating barbecue from many different local barbecue spots. Limp Lizard's gonna be there. I believe Dinosaur's gonna be there.
I'm gonna spend so much money.
It's gonna be great. Oh yeah, it's not gonna be a cheap day, but you can still get tickets. You can get tickets day of. You can walk up to NBT Bank Stadium today and say, I want a ticket to the amazing ballpark beer and barbecue festival.
You should.
And you absolutely should. And so that's 12 to 4 today. And one of those breweries that's going to be represented
Sure.
at the amazing ballpark beer and
Don't
barbecue
tell me.
festival
Don't tell me.
is our friends at Myers Creek Brewing Company.
How are they gonna bring all the kegs there? They got 16 different taps.
They do have 16 craft beers on tap at both the Palace in Cazenovia and the Inner Harbor location here in Syracuse, but I don't think they're going to have 16 there.
It'd be impossible.
It would be impossible.
You
That's
can't-
far too much beer.
And it's like an expo. You're supposed to have fun. You don't want to just shove your best 16 down everyone's. So I mean, they're gonna steal the show.
Exactly. And Mitty just said the same brewing company with their own slider on the board. That's right.
Bang.
Bang. Our friends at Myers Creek Brewing Company. And afterwards, say maybe you sample a Velvet Fog at the amazing Ballpark Beer and Barbecue Festival.
You're gonna need some more of that.
You know what you do? You just go right down to the Inner Harbor. It's about 5 minutes away. Not even. Just drive over to that location. They're going to be open. Try. Maybe have a full Velvet Fog.
Oh,
Maybe
yeah.
try a floating on by. Maybe grab a 4-pack of Dart out of the fridge that they've got in there.
Well, you know, Mark, it's so funny you say that because I think I might today make it home in time for Bad Blood. You can do that. Get a little thing for later. Myers
Yeah.
Creek's going to supply my drinking for the night.
There you go. And
My responsible drinking in my own house.
maybe you had some barbecue at the amazing Ballpark Beer and Barbecue Festival,
Oh, yeah.
but you want more. You need to eat more.
I love to eat more.
Well, guess what? You can do that at Myers Creek Brewing Company.
Really?
I was there the other night. I was there the other night for trivia, as I am every Wednesday. Bedrock Construction victorious this week once again.
You won?
We did win.
Wow.
And
Wait, Bedrock Construction. This
yes,
is a long...
that's our trivia name, Bedrock Construction. It's a long story. It's a Jim Lurch thing. And shout out the man-child. And so
You're eating at Myers Creek.
I'm eating in Myers Creek. And I see they do these monthly specials. And they've always got a theme. Like in July, it's red, white, and blue.
Sure.
And it's October, so everything's like kind of spooky.
Oh.
And so I got the jack-o'-lantern burger. It's a smash burger.
Pumpkin?
No.
Okay. I don't know how weird.
It's a smash burger with a garlic aioli,
Oh.
with pepper jack cheese and cheddar cheese,
I like that.
and fried jalapeno strips on it. And brother, let me tell you, I devoured this burger. It was great. All of their food is great.
Oh, yeah.
All their beer is great.
Award-winning wings.
Award-winning wings. The Pickle Spice Wings won the best wings in Syracuse a couple of years ago at Syracuse Wing Fest. So make sure to check out our friends at Myers Creek Brewing Company, the official bar and beer of Outside the Box Score with Mark Rowlands.
If you're a fan of local craft beer, the only place you need to go is Myers Creek Brewing Company with 16 brews on tap at both the Cazenovia and Inner Harbor locations. Myers Creek has the best selection of locally brewed libations in all of central New York. Want a nice hazy IPA? The Velvet Fog is a must-try. More of a traditional Pilsner, how about the Floatin' on By? And for you sour drinkers, the It Takes Blue to Mango. So crack open a cold one with the official beer of Outside the Box Score, Myers Creek.
We're constructing something.
Yes, Jim. So Jim just said, do Josh or Mark know the boss's name of the quarry where Fred Flintstone worked? So the name Bedrock Construction.
I thought it would be a Flintstone thing.
Yes, it's kind of a Flintstones reference.
Okay.
So this goes back to when Lurch was living in New York and playing slow pitch softball.
Okay.
They need, every team had a sponsor
Yes.
except for them. So they needed a sponsor, but they didn't go out and get one.
So they made
just
up.
made up a company, Bedrock Construction, which is based on where Fred Flintstone worked in the Flintstones.
Nobody questioned it.
No.
That's
They got
very fun.
shirts. They got everything. And so it's like, who's your sponsor? You'd say, oh, Bedrock Construction.
That's
And-
very
Yeah, it's great. And so we stopped playing slow pitch softball, and
as a lot of
years-
older guys do.
yeah.
You stop slow pitch, you take up trivia.
Yeah, and years later, he's now in Syracuse. He starts doing trivia, and the boss's name was Josh. Apparently, I didn't even know that.
There you go.
And he starts doing trivia. He needs a name for his trivia team. Bedrock Construction. So yes, we are proudly called Bedrock Construction for trivia.
Wow, Mark, this thing got out of hand.
Ask Josh the boss's name. Do you know the boss's name from the Flintstones?
Jim?
I don't remember.
No, I have no clue.
Stone says slow pitch sucks. Bad take.
What?
Awful take.
Stone.
Oh, Mr. Slate. That's right. Mr. Slate.
Okay.
And we're back, wrapping up another fun-filled hour here on Outside the Box Score with me, Mark Rowlands, your home for local sports in Syracuse on the Score 1260. Quickly, going to run through a great baseball slate today.
Oh, yeah.
First game of the AL and NL Division Series today, 2 in each. We've got Detroit and Cleveland at 1 o'clock on TBS. Mets-Phillies, big win for the Mets the other night.
Huge.
Pete Alonso with one of the biggest postseason home runs we've seen in a number of years.
Yeah.
Just off one of the best closers in baseball, off his best pitch, threw the airbender changeup that he loves so much and left it up, and Pete knew it as soon as he hit it.
Did you see the stat? I don't know if it was real that there had never been a go-ahead or a come-from-behind home run in a Game 5 or 7 so far in base. Is that real? It seems impossible that that's never happened.
When the team was trailing, it's happened when a team has been tied, but I believe it's when a team is trailing. No, that had never happened before. And yeah, Jim said it in a deciding game when trailing.
That's insane.
Yeah.
What a moment.
I mean, and that's the scenario we all imagine when we're kids. We're in the backyard playing wiffle ball. It's all right, bases loaded, down 3, bottom of the 9th, and yeah, no, it's never happened.
By the way, I will say, and I don't want to take away from Pete here because what a moment. We got to preview some more games. Pete Alonso looks pretty rough. Dude, I don't know.
Grow the beard back. Grow the beard back, Pete.
Pat, you want to make fun of Mark all the time for his Pete Alonso looks terrible. I don't think I'm a good-looking guy by any means. Holy hell, does he look bad? And I know he's going to make 100-some million next year. He's going to be doing fine. He's got to meet with somebody.
Hair plugs. Grow the beard back.
Yeah.
No, he does
dye the hair. Oh my God.
Yeah, he does look a little rough these days. But hey, doesn't matter how you look if you keep hitting home runs like that off of Devin. So Mets Phillies at 4 o'clock today. Kodai Senga and Zach Wheeler in that one. Great pitching matchup. Yankees also in action today against the Kansas City Royals. They made a switch. I thought Cole Reagans was going to start this game for Kansas City. It's actually going to end up being Michael Wacha, former Cardinal, Padre, Red Sox. Wacha, good. He's been good the past couple of years. Had a couple of rough years there with St. Louis, but 13-8 this year with a 3.35 ERA.
Not too shabby.
Facing off against, of course, Garrett Cole on the mound for the New York Yankees. Known big game pitcher Garrett Cole.
Oh yeah.
And then an NL West matchup to end the night, 8:30 on FS1. Padres and Dodgers. The Padres, like the Mets and Tigers, are a team I absolutely want nothing to do with right now.
I'd be scared. Yeah.
I'd be terrified to play the San Diego Padres. They had an incredible second half.
That's got to be the premier matchup in these 4 series.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mets, Phillies, too.
Okay.
Because the Mets, there's some magic going on in Queens.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. There's too much magic going on in Queens. They've got like 7 gimmicks, and they're all working. So I don't know what's going on with the Mets, but they've got Jose Iglesias and the OMG thing. They've got Grimace. Now they've got a rally pumpkin that Pete Alonso picked. Like, it's everything.
Yes.
So we've got a great day of baseball ahead and a great day at the Amazing Ballpark Beer and Barbecue
can't wait.
Festival. We'll give you a full report when we come back next week, same time, same channel, 11 a.m. on the Score 1260. Peace.